Seriously? You want me to file another observation report on those hairless bipeds from the backwater spiral arm? Kovacs huffed, his four upper appendages gesticulating wildly at the terminal. How many times do we need to document their primitive nuclear technology before the Council admits they are centuries away from being a concern? The Grand Observer Tulratha slowly rotated her sensory stalks toward him, the bioluminescent patterns on her epidermis flashing with unmistakable annoyance. The Galactic Council doesn't pay you to question directives, Observer Third Class. They pay you to watch and report. 27 observation cycles. That's how long I have monitored these humans. They are barely exploring their own solar system. Kovacs slumped in his ergonomic support harness. Their most advanced vessels use chemical propulsion for void's sake. They will be extinct long before they ever reach the nearest habitable system. Tulratha's appendages typed a sequence into her command console, bringing up a holographic display of the blue-green planet designated Sol 3, or as the natives called it, Earth. The Council has its reasons, Kovacs. This species progresses unusually. They make technological leaps that defy conventional development patterns. She tapped a claw against her console. Did you read the historical briefing? 300 local years ago, they were traveling by animal-drawn vehicles. Now they communicate across their entire planet instantaneously and have rudimentary artificial intelligence. Kovacs snorted, producing a small cloud of olfactory communicators that expressed his skepticism better than words ever could. So they develop quickly. Many species do before they exterminate themselves. The Council believes there's something off about them, something we are missing. Tulratha's voice lowered to a conspiratorial rumble. Have you noticed how much of their planet remains unexplored? Their deepest oceans? The strange energy readings we occasionally detect from their polar regions and certain mountain ranges. Instrument error, Kovacs dismissed with a flick of his secondary appendage. Or natural phenomena they haven't discovered yet because, as I mentioned, they are primitives. The observation vessel's alarm suddenly blared, startling both aliens. The ship's AI announced in its melodious voice, "Warning! Unauthorized interplanetary vessel detected leaving Sol 3 atmosphere. Trajectory suggests intercept course." What? Kovacs scrambled to his station, suddenly alert. That's impossible. They don't have the technology to detect us, let alone approach our position. The view screen shifted to show a small, sleek craft unlike any human design they had documented. It moved with impossible speed and grace, emitting no detectable propulsion signature. Is that one of ours?" Kovacs asked, his voice quavering to Tulratha's bioluminescence paled to a sickly hue. Negative identification on all Council databases. It's theirs. The mysterious craft came to an abrupt halt 500 meters from their observation vessel. No communication attempt was made. It simply hovered, silent and menacing. "Scan it," ordered Tulratha. Kovacs as appendages flew across his console. I can't. Our sensors can't penetrate its hull. Wait, bio sign detected. Just one. It's by the void. It's a juvenile human. The comm system crackled unexpectedly, and a small voice came through, speaking perfect galactic standard. "This is Abigail Thornton, age 8. I request permission to come aboard." Kovacs and Tulratha exchanged shocked glances. "Permission denied." Tulratha responded automatically. "Return to your planet immediately or face consequences under galactic law." A soft giggle came through the speakers. "I was hoping you'd say that. Dad wanted to test the new defensive systems." Before either alien could respond, the small craft emitted a pulse of energy that passed harmlessly through their shields as if they didn't exist. All systems on the observation vessel suddenly went dark. "Emergency power only," reported the ship's AI calmly, as if this were a routine occurrence. The small craft maneuvered directly to their airlock, which, despite multiple fail-safes and security protocols, opened obligingly. Kovacs reached for the emergency weapon locker, but Tulratha stopped him with a firm grip. "Protocol dictates First contact procedures now. We don't harm juveniles of any species, especially not potential council applicants. Applicants, Galactic said. They just disabled our class. 9 observation vessel with technology they shouldn't have for another 1,000 years. The airlock cycled, and both aliens fell silent as soft footsteps approached the bridge. The door slid open to reveal a small human female with auburn hair tied in what humans called pigtails. She wore what appeared to be standard human child attire, coveralls with cartoon characters, and carried a stuffed representation of a terrestrial ursine creature. "Hi," she said brightly, walking onto the bridge without hesitation. "Your cloaking technology is really outdated. Dad says it's at least 4 generations behind current standards. Kovacs's translator must have malfunctioned because that couldn't possibly be correct." "Young human," Tolratha began diplomatically, "you are not authorized to be here. This is a scientific vessel under Galactic Council jurisdiction." Abigail settled comfortably into the captain's chair, her feet dangling well above the floor. "I know exactly what this is. You have been watching us for decades, thinking we don't notice." She hugged her stuffed bear closer. "Mr. Snuggles, and I just wanted to see if you were friendly or not." Kovacs couldn't contain himself. "How did you get here? How are you breathing our atmosphere? How do you know Galactic Standard?" The little girl grinned, revealing gaps where some teeth were missing. "Universal translators are super easy to make. Mom helped me with mine for my science fair project last year." She pointed to a small device on her wrist. "And this suit adapts to any environment. Standard issue for kids in the Explore program." Tolratha approached cautiously. "Your parents know you are here?" "Duh, Dad's tracking me right now." She pointed to a small pin on her coveralls, shaped like an ancient Earth-sailing vessel. "He said I have 5 minutes to say hi before he has to report this violation to the Conclave." "Conclave," Kovacs repeated dumbly. Abigail rolled her eyes dramatically. "The human governing body for extraterrestrial affairs? We have had it for, like, forever." Tolratha's analytical mind raced. Either this child was extraordinarily delusional, or everything the Council believed about humanity was catastrophically wrong. "Young one," she began carefully, "humanity hasn't achieved faster-than-light travel or contact with other species. Our records are quite clear." Abigail laughed so hard she nearly fell out of the chair. "That's what we wanted you to think. It's way easier to develop when nobody's watching too closely." She swung her legs playfully. "The Conclave decided thousands of years ago that it was safer to keep our real capabilities secret until we understood the galaxy better." An alert sounded from her wrist device. "Ugh, Dad says I need to come back now." She hopped down from the chair. "It was nice meeting you. Maybe next time you can visit us properly instead of hiding up here." She skipped toward the airlock, but Tolratha's training finally overrode her shock. "Wait, you can't leave. This is a first contact situation requiring proper protocols and documentation." Kovacs moved to block the exit, but found himself frozen in place as Abigail casually waved a hand in his direction. "Sorry about the stasis field," she said, not sounding sorry at all. "It will wear off in about 10 minutes. And this isn't first contact. We have been observing your council for centuries." Her expression suddenly turned serious, making her look oddly adult. "You really should update your records about us. We are not what you think." With that, she skipped back to the airlock, which opened for her, as if eager to assist. The last they saw of her was a cheerful wave before the outer door closed. Their systems gradually came back online as the small craft detached and zipped away at impossible speed. "Tell me that didn't just happen," Kovacs whispered as the stasis field released him. Tolratha was already frantically recording everything into a priority message for the Council. "We need to report this immediately." If what she said is true, the communication console chimed with an incoming transmission, origin unknown. Against his better judgment, Kovacs accepted it. A stern-faced adult human male appeared on screen. "This is Admiral Jonathan Thornton of the Earth Conclave. I apologize for my daughter's unauthorized visit to your vessel. She's precocious." The human's expression hardened. "However, since she's revealed our existence, I'm authorized to inform you that your observation mission is now acknowledged. Future communications should go through official channels. Before either alien could respond, the human continued. Also, your presence in this system has been duly recorded as a violation of Treaty of Proxima, Section 3, which your council signed 1,200 years ago. A formal complaint will be filed. The transmission cut off, leaving two thoroughly confused observers staring at each other. Treaty of Proxima. Kovacs finally managed that Talratha slowly moved to the database terminal and entered the query. To her shock, the result appeared instantly. Treaty of Proxima Centauri, classified level Omega. Council authorization required. That's not possible, she whispered. I have alpha clearance. There shouldn't be anything I can't access about an allegedly primitive species. The console suddenly displayed a new message. Access granted for one-time emergency protocol. Treaty summary. Non-interference pact between Galactic Council and Sol System inhabitants, specifically the governing body known as the Ancient Conclave of Earth. Treaty acknowledges Earth's territorial claim to 27 local star systems and non-disclosure of true technological capabilities to General Council membership. Kovacs read it twice before speaking. So, the Council has been lying to its own observers? Why pretend humans are primitive if we have had contact for over a millennium? Talratha's bioluminescence had shifted to the deep purple of extreme distress. I don't know, but we are about to find out. Set course for Council headquarters. Maximum speed. 3 days later, their observation vessel docked at Galactic Council headquarters stationed in the neutral Cygnus system. They were immediately escorted, not to a debriefing room as expected, but directly to the Council chamber itself, where all 57 senior representatives of the member species were assembled. High Counselor Vexuridan, ancient even by his species standards, fixed them with all four of his eyes. Observers, your report has caused considerable concern. Kovacs stepped forward. High Counselor, with respect, we deserve an explanation. Why were we sent to observe a species while being deliberately misinformed about their capabilities? Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Vexuridan raised a gnarled appendage for silence. The situation with the humans is complicated, he began. Yes, we have known of their true nature for millennia. What most don't know is that humans aren't native to Earth. This revelation stunned both observers into silence. They arrived there approximately 50,000 years ago, already possessing technology beyond our understanding. They deliberately regressed, establishing a primitive society while maintaining a secret advanced civilization. Why? We still don't know. Talratha found her voice. But the treaty? Why agree to hide their existence? A new voice spoke from the chamber entrance. Because we asked nicely. Every council member turned as a human man in a simple gray uniform walked calmly into the chamber. Unlike little Abigail, this human radiated authority and ancient wisdom. Ambassador Dominic Reed, Vexuridan acknowledged with unmistakable respect. We weren't expecting your presence. The human nodded politely. When children break protocols, parents must step in to smooth things over. He turned to Kovacs and Talratha. I'm here to offer you both a choice. Return to your normal duties with modified memories of this incident, or join a small group of council members who know the truth about humanity. Which is what exactly? Asked Kovacs boldly. Ambassador Reed smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That we are not the young species you believe us to be. We are what's left of the civilization you call the predecessors. The ones who built the mysterious ruins and technologies found throughout the galaxy. The chamber erupted in chaos as council members shouted questions and denials. The predecessors were mythical, godlike beings who had vanished from the galaxy millions of years ago. Impossible, shouted one council member. The predecessors were described as crystalline entities, not organic bipeds. Reed's smile widened. Descriptions change over time, especially when we encourage certain misconceptions. We found it safer to hide in plain sight, appearing to evolve naturally on a backwater world. But why? Talratha asked. If you have such advanced technology, because last time we didn't hide, it ended badly for everyone. Reed's expression darkened. We once ruled half the galaxy openly. It made us targets. After the war that nearly destroyed everything, the survivors decided on a different approach. High Counselor Vex cleared his throat. Ambassador, perhaps this conversation should continue in private. No, Reed interrupted firmly. The charade has gone on long enough. The child's actions have forced our hand. He addressed the entire council. Humanity has remained hidden because we were healing, rebuilding. We watched as new species emerged and formed this council, hoping you would create something better than what came before. Kovacs felt a chill despite the chamber's regulated temperature. And have we created something better? Ambassador Reed's gaze swept the chamber. We were beginning to think so, until last month. The chamber fell deathly silent. Even Vexuridan seemed uncomfortable. What happened last month? Tulratha asked quietly to Reed's eyes locked with hers. One of your exploration vessels encountered a human outpost near the Perseus Void, a monitoring station staffed by a single family. Instead of following first contact protocols, your captain panicked and opened fire. Vexuridan stood abruptly. Ambassador, that matter is under investigation. The investigation is complete. Reed cut him off coldly. The parents were off station. Only their child, 12-year-old Thomas Barrett, was present. Your vessel destroyed the station with him inside. Horror-tabnet on Katvak. Is that why the human child visited our ship? As some kind of warning? Partially, Reed acknowledged. But also to confirm what we already suspected, that most council members and citizens know nothing about us. You have been kept in the dark by your own leadership. Vexuridan's upper limbs trembled slightly. Ambassador Reed, I assure you the captain has been detained pending what? Reed's voice cut through the chamber like a plasma blade. Your council authorized observation only. The captain opened fire on an unarmed station with a child inside. There's nothing to investigate. A council member from the aquatic meridian species bubbled anxiously. Surely one regrettable incident needn't jeopardize centuries of peaceful coexistence. Reed's laugh was void of humor. Peaceful? You have been studying us like lab specimens while pretending to honor a treaty your predecessors signed. Now a child is dead. His eyes narrowed. The conclave has voted. You will surrender the responsible parties immediately or face judgment under the ancient codes. Ancient codes? What's he talking about? Vexuridan's skin had paled to an ashen gray. Ambassador, surely we can resolve this diplomatically. The captain responsible was acting alone, against protocol. The vessel was registered to Council Military Command. Reed interrupted. The weapons used were Council-issued. The target was in neutral space, outside your jurisdiction. His voice lowered dangerously. The child suffered for 18 minutes before life support failed. We have logs. A horrified silence fell over the chamber. How did you? Began one council member. We have observation posts throughout council space, Reed stated flatly. Did you think we'd trust you blindly after what happened to our civilization before? We have been watching you watching us. Kovacs felt sick. This was far beyond a diplomatic incident. Reed checked a device on his wrist. Your deadline expires in 1 standard hour. Either surrender the responsible parties to human justice or prepare to face the consequences. With that, he turned and walked out, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Vexuridan slowly sank back into his seat. Emergency protocols. Lock down all communications. No one leaves this chamber until we resolve this. An insectoid council member chittered nervously. High Counselor, with respect, what exactly are we facing? If humans are truly predecessors, as he claims, they are, Vexuridan confirmed grimly. And worse, they're angry. Our ancestors signed that treaty because they had no choice. The historical records are clear. During first contact, 3 human vessels neutralized an entire council battle fleet without firing a single conventional weapon. Tulratha stepped forward. Then we must comply with their demands. If they are that powerful and appear weak, hissed another counselor. If word spreads that we bow to human demands, Every minor power in the galaxy will challenge us. Kavax couldn't contain himself. And if we don't comply, what happens then? Vexuridan's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme distress in a species. The treaty contains specific provisions. If either party commits an act of aggression, the wrong party may respond proportionally. Proportionally? Kavaч repeated. They lost one child. They lost one child, Vexuridan agreed quietly. And under the ancient codes they cite, that entitles them to claim one world in return. The chamber erupted in outrage and fear. One world? That's insanity. We cannot surrender a planet over one accident. Which world would they even want? Vexuridan raised all 4 limbs for silence. It's worse than you understand. The ancient codes are pre-council law, established by the predecessors, by humans, when they ruled the galaxy. They don't mean a colony world or outpost. They mean a homeworld. Kavax felt as if the artificial gravity had increased tenfold. A homeworld? As in one of our member species' native planets, Vexuridan confirmed. And they get to choose which one. The council descended into chaos again, representatives shouting over each other in panic. Vexuridan let it continue for several minutes before activating the sonic dampener that rendered everyone temporarily mute. "Control yourselves," he demanded. "We have 47 minutes to decide. Either we surrender the captain, the weapons officer, and the command staff who authorized the mission, or we risk one of our homeworlds." A Volcaran representative, whose species was known for military prowess, finally found voice. "This is blackmail. We have defensive fleets. Let them try to take a homeworld." Vexuridan's laugh was brittle. "Counselor Drav, I admire your species' courage, but you don't understand what we are facing. The knowledge has been restricted to High Council only, but perhaps it's time." He tapped a command into his console. "Computer, display historical file Omega Prime 7. Authorization Vexuridan High Council Prime." The central holographic display activated, showing what appeared to be an ancient recording. The quality was poor, the image grainy, but clear enough to see a massive space battle. Council vessels of an antiquated design fired upon what appeared to be 3 sleek, dark ships of human design. "This is footage from the first encounter with humans, over 1,200 years ago," Vexuridan explained. A council expeditionary force discovered what they believed was an uninhabited system perfect for colonization. They were wrong. On the display, the 3 human vessels moved with impossible grace, absorbing weapons fire without visible effect. Then, without warning, a wave of something emanated from the lead human ship. It wasn't energy or matter as conventionally understood. It was more like a ripple in space itself. As the wave passed through the council fleet, ship after ship simply ceased to function. No explosions, no destruction. They simply went dark, drifting lifelessly. That was a fleet of 217 vessels, Vexuridan said quietly, crewed by over 20,000 of our finest. The humans disabled them all without causing a single casualty. Kavax stared in disbelief. "How? We still don't know," admitted Vexuridan. "After neutralizing our fleet, they opened communications and explained who they were, refugees from their own past. They offered mercy in exchange for recognition of their territory and a non-aggression pact. The council of that era had little choice but to agree." Tolratha's bioluminescence pulsed rapidly as realization dawned. "So the Treaty of Proxima was signed under duress." "Yes," Vexuridan confirmed. "But it has served both sides well. Until now." A soft chime interrupted them. Chamber entrance slid open, revealing not Ambassador Reed, but a young human woman in a simple black uniform with silver piping. "Your hour isn't up yet," Vexuridan said warily. "I'm not here about that," the woman replied calmly. "I'm Captain Mira Barrett of the Earth Conclave." Her voice hardened slightly. "Thomas was my son." The chamber fell silent. Even Counselor Drav seemed to shrink under her steady gaze. "Captain Barrett," Vexuridan began awkwardly. "Please accept our deepest. Save it," she cut him off. "I'm here with a warning. The Conclave has granted me command of the Oblivion Fleet." Vexuridan's color drained completely. That's not possible. The Oblivion Fleet is a myth. Mira Barrett's smile was terrifying in its serenity. Is it? How convenient for you to believe that. She tapped a device on her wrist, and the chamber's holographic display changed to show a view of space outside the Council station. Emerging from what appeared to be fold points in space itself came ship after ship, massive, dark vessels with ominous, sleek profiles. Not 3 ships as in the historical recording, but hundreds, perhaps thousands. Mother of Worlds, whispered a council member. How many are there? Enough, Barrett replied simply. This is approximately 1/10 of the Oblivion Fleet. The rest remain in reserve. Kovacs couldn't tear his eyes from the display. Each ship was easily the size of a small moon, bristling with technology no council scientist could comprehend. Why show us this? Vexuridan asked, his voice barely audible, that Barrett's expression remained impassive. Because you're still deliberating whether to comply with our demand for justice, as if you have a choice. She stepped further into the chamber. Let me be clear, this isn't a negotiation. The ancient codes are absolute. A child for a world. You took my son. Now we take a planet. You would condemn billions for one life. Kovacs blurted before he could stop himself that Barrett's gaze found him, and Kovacs felt the weight of her grief like a physical force. Observer 3rd Class Kovacs. I reviewed your file. You have offspring, don't you? Kavachnoded numbli. Then you understand, she said softly. And no, we won't harm civilians. Unlike your captain, we don't murder children. Vexuridan rose slowly. What exactly do you intend? The Council has repeatedly violated the treaty, Barrett stated. Not just with the murder of my son, but with your continued observation of Earth despite multiple warnings. Therefore, under Article 7 of the Ancient Codes, we claim the homeworld of the species responsible for authorizing the mission that killed Thomas. The Council members looked at each other in confusion. The Grazi homeworld, Barrett clarified. Your military high command. A hulking Grazi counselor surged to his feet, his bony ridge flaring in aggression. Never. We will die before surrendering our homeworld. Barrett didn't even glance his way. No one is asking you to surrender it. We're taking it. As we speak, evacuation orders are being transmitted across your planet. Your people have 72 hours to relocate. We have arranged transport and temporary housing on your colony worlds. This is madness, the Grazi roared. Our planetary defenses will do nothing, Barrett finished for him. Your defenses were neutralized 6 minutes ago. Your military communications are under our control. Your orbital platforms have been disabled. She looked at him finally. Don't make this worse than it needs to be. Vexuridan slumped in his seat. And if we provide the responsible parties as requested, then we take only what is necessary, Barrett replied. The planet remains yours, but we establish a conclave presence there to ensure future compliance with the treaty. The chamber fell silent as the council members processed their options, which weren't really options at all. We surrender the responsible parties, Vexuridan said finally. Under protest, but we surrender them. Barrett nodded once. A wise decision. Ambassador Reed will handle the transfer. She turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. The Council's mandate to observe Earth is hereby permanently revoked. Any vessel found in soul space without explicit conclave authorization will be considered hostile. After she departed, the Council sat in stunned silence until Kovacs finally spoke. How long have we known? He asked quietly. About their true capabilities? Vexuridan sighed deeply. Rumors of the Oblivion Fleet have existed since first contact. Most believed it propaganda, a human bluff. But the High Council has occasionally detected anomalies, energy signatures that match known technology, gravitational disturbances near uninhabited systems. And we still chose to provoke them. Tulratha asked incredulously. No, Vexuridan insistiv. The captain acted without authorization. Tragic error in judgment that has cost us dearly. Kovacs wasn't convinced. And the observation program? The treaty violations? Before Vexuridan could respond, the holographic display changed again. This time it showed the Grazi homeworld from orbit, a beautiful blue-green sphere. Without warning, thousands of objects began descending from the human fleet. Not weapons as Kovacs initially feared, but what appeared to be massive engineering platforms. They arranged themselves in a perfect grid pattern around the planet, forming an artificial shell. "What are they doing?" whispered Tolratha. "Marking their territory," Vexuridan replied grimly. The engineering platforms began emitting beams of coherent energy, not destructive but connective, forming a lattice of light around the planet. Where the beams intersected, massive structures began to form, not through construction, but through what appeared to be matter manipulation on a scale beyond council science. They are terraforming, Kovacs realized, but not destroying, reconfiguring. Within minutes, the planet's surface was transforming, not in destruction, but in careful, deliberate alteration. Oceans remained where they were, but cities were being relocated. Entire population centers lifted intact and moved to create vast open spaces. "They are claiming the world while sparing its people," Tolratha whispered. Just as she said, Kovacs watched in horrified fascination. "What happens to the Grazi who remain?" "They live as a protected species," Vexuridan explained. "The humans won't harm them, but the planet is no longer theirs to govern." 3 days later, Kovacs and Tolratha stood at a viewport on the council station, watching the Grazi evacuation ships depart. The Oblivion fleet remained in position, a silent reminder of humanity's power. "I don't understand," Kovacs said quietly. "If they have had this capability all along, why hide? Why pretend to be primitive?" Tolratha's bioluminescence had settled into a thoughtful blue pattern. "Maybe they were testing us, seeing what kind of neighbors we'd be when we thought we had the advantage. And we failed the test," Kovacs concluded. "Perhaps not entirely," came a voice behind them. They turned to find Ambassador Reed approaching. "Your observers' reports were always remarkably fair-minded. You saw primitives, yes, but you also saw potential. That speaks well of you both." Tolratha faced him directly. "Will you destroy the council, Ambassador?" Reed shook his head. "No. Despite recent events, the Conclave believes in the Council's potential. You're a young species, still learning. We were no different once." He gazed out at the stars. "We hid because the last time humanity revealed its full power, it triggered a war that nearly extinguished all advanced life in the galaxy, including most of our own people." "What happened?" Kovacs asked. "Fear happened," Reed replied simply. "Other species saw our technology and assumed we would dominate them eternally. They united against us, and in defending ourselves, we all but destroyed everything." His expression grew distant. "The survivors established the Conclave with one directive: never again. We retreated to Earth, erased most evidence of our existence, and started over, hiding in plain sight while we healed and watched the galaxy evolve without us." "And now?" Tolratha asked. "Now we have been exposed and must adapt." Captain Barrett's son was the first human child killed by another species in over 10,000 years. Reed's expression hardened momentarily. "The Conclave debated annihilating your council entirely. Many voted for it. In the end, we chose restraint." Kovacs shuddered at how casually Reed discussed potential genocide. "Why tell us this?" "Because you have been selected," Reed said, turning to face them fully. "The Council requires representatives who understand humanity's true nature. You both will serve as primary liaisons going forward." "Us?" Tolratha's bioluminescence flashed in surprise. "But we are just observers." "Who observed more accurately than most," Reed noted. "You recognize the impossibility of what young Abigail demonstrated, rather than denying the evidence before you." Reed handed them each a small device. "These will connect you directly to Conclave representatives should issues arise. And they will arise. Many on your council resent what's happened." "And the Grazi?" Kovacs asked. "Their homeworld will remain intact, its ecosystems preserved," Reed assured him. "We are establishing a Conclave outpost there, partly as monitoring station, partly as a memorial to Thomas. Captain Barrett will oversee it personally. A constant reminder of human power," Tolratha observed. Reed's smile was enigmatic, a reminder of consequences. The Conclave hopes it need not provide another such demonstration for at least a millennium. He turned to leave, then paused. One final thing. Your council should know that the Oblivion fleet shown today represents our diplomatic corps only. Kovacs blinked in confusion. Diplomatic? Those were warships. No, red corrective. Those were science and exploration vessels modified to look intimidating. Our actual warships remain in dimensional storage, where they have been since the ancient war. His expression grew somber. Pray you never see them deployed. With that chilling statement, he departed, leaving the two observers staring at each other in stunned silence. Dimensional storage. Kovacs finally managed. Is that even possible? Tulratha's bioluminescence had shifted to a contemplative purple. Apparently, along with terraforming a planet in minutes and neutralizing an entire defense grid without firing a shot. She looked down at the communication device Reed had given her. We have been monitoring the wrong aspects of humanity all along. What do you mean? Their technology isn't what makes them dangerous, she said quietly. It's their restraint. Think about it. They could have obliterated us at any time, yet they chose measured response. They could have destroyed the Grazi homeworld, yet they carefully relocated its people. Kovac nodded slowly. The capacity for destruction coupled with the discipline not to use it. Exactly. Tulratha turned back to the viewport, watching as the last of the Oblivion fleet's visible ships folded back into whatever dimensional space they occupied. They have been testing us for centuries, watching to see how we'd use power when we thought we were unopposed. And we killed a child, Kovacs concluded grimly. One mistake after centuries of observation, Tulratha mused. Perhaps there's hope for us yet. As the final human vessel vanished from conventional space, Kovacs couldn't help but wonder if humanity's watchful eyes would ever truly leave them again. The fleet of Oblivion might disappear from sight, but its shadow would linger across the galaxy for generations to come. A reminder that sometimes the most powerful civilizations are the ones wise enough to hide their power until absolutely necessary on Earth. Young Abigail Thornton sat in her classroom, learning about ancient human history alongside her peers. To any outside observer, they appear to be ordinary children of a developing species. Only the small memorial pin she wore, shaped like Thomas Barrett's favorite constellation, hinted at the truth that these seemingly innocent youngsters were the heirs to the most powerful civilization the galaxy had ever known and the guardians of its most terrible weapons. The teacher smiled as Abigail raised her hand to answer a question about early space exploration, her knowledge of primitive rocket technology flawless. The perfect cover maintained, even now, hiding in plain sight while the real work of humanity continued in the shadows, watching over a galaxy that had yet to earn their full trust. But perhaps someday, when a younger species had matured enough, the fleet of Oblivion would return not as a threat, but as an invitation to join humanity among the stars as true equals. Until then, the ancient protectors of Earth would continue their vigil, powerful beyond imagination, but patient enough to wait centuries for the galaxy to grow into its potential. They had time, after all. They'd had nothing but time since they first retreated to Earth, watching and waiting for the day when revealing their true nature wouldn't lead to war, but to peace. That day hadn't come yet. But maybe, just maybe, it was a little closer now.